I think Steve's legacy in terms of his service to the board and the DD community is that he made our work and the lives of people with developmental disabilities accessible to everyone. He really did a great job of talking about his experience, talking about why these issues were so important, and making sure that people could take this very big, complicated system and boil it down to something very simple, that people with developmental disabilities should be able to live and work in their community just like everyone else.
The best thing about Steve's work with DD is watching his relationship with his brother. It is extraordinarily touching. They have a really incredible bond. Scott lights up like a Christmas tree every time Steve enters the room, and you can just show him a picture of Steve, and Scott is on the moon, so excited to see his brother.
So Steve to me is amazing in the amount of love and support that he offers his brother. And it's just inspiring because every day can be a new day and every milestone can look differently. And so Steve's brother is older than my beautiful son. And so I've kind of looked to him in terms of encouragement and letting our wonderful family members live the best lives that they can and be there as a support.
My favorite memories of working with Steve in the DD community is he used to hold a dance for individuals with special needs in Rocky River. And that was one of the first experiences I've had with the DD community, is that we helped plan this dance at the Rocky River Memorial Hall, and then also serve food and actually dance with individuals with special needs. It touched me, and I was really happy to be part of it. And it's just one of my favorite memories. We did that probably 6 or 7 years in a row. He was able to get all of his friends to do it, and it was the highlight of our summer to hold that dance.
Steve was instrumental in terms of helping us through the transition out of our direct services. As a family member of someone that got services at one of our adult activity centers, I think Steve was a little unsure and apprehensive about what it would be like when we were no longer the provider. But he didn't let that stop him from helping us think through all of the transition details, asking the questions that we needed to think about to make sure that this was a really successful change.
We've watched the organization switch from the programming, increase some of the family supports, but we also navigated COVID together. And so that means instead of, coming down to Lakeside or being able to go to our centers, we had to do it virtually like everyone else in the world. And so to me, that's one of those memorable things that we navigated COVID together and really thought about our consumers and our family members in this really crazy time and how vulnerable they all were.
Through his leadership and through his example, we've been able to recenter and refocus on what's most important, and it is that relationship between people and their families. And I think that's something that he can be very proud of, looking back on his time as a leader, both in Cuyahoga County as well as at the state association level, that he was able to refocus our energies where they are most deserving.
Steve really has an exacting eye for detail, and in his work with Welcome House, for example, he has really, through his investment experience, grown our endowment and really fostered the future for Welcome House.
For Steve, I think one of his big accomplishments is when he was able to be the president of Cuyahoga County, as well as the OACB board. And really, he had a leadership of bringing both of these boards kind of to the new generation.
On the OACB board, Steve was also involved in a really big transition in terms of leadership of that association. And he went about that in a very careful, thoughtful way, talking to a lot of different people about what was needed for the system statewide. So that was very important for us to make sure that the association was poised to support county boards well into the future.
The team we've been able to assemble, having the right people in the right positions, I feel is going to strengthen county boards and, most importantly, the people they serve and their families for many years to come. And I think that Steve had a huge hand in that.
Steve's body of work in the DD community should be remembered, that he really mentored the next generation of leaders, that he has spent a lot of time working with new board members, recruiting new board members, anyone joining the DD community in a volunteer or whether it's part of their career, that he takes the time to introduce them, making sure they understand, how important the work that they're doing is and what value it brings to people with DD.
I don't think Steve's DD work is ever really going to end. His tenure at the County Board of Developmental Disabilities is ending, but we're really hoping we can get him back to Welcome House to continue to serve on our board and continue to advocate for people with disabilities.
I would just add, for him to know that he'll be missed. You encounter people who make an impact, keep you laughing, but keep you humble enough to ask the questions. And I think Steve was able to balance that. So if no one has said it, I would love to say, Steve, you will be missed and you are well deserving of this honor. And it's been a pleasure to serve with you and know you.
Knowing the other people that are in the Cuyahoga County Board Hall of Fame, I can't think of a more fitting and appropriate person to be added to that wall than Steve Licciardi. He is an example for all other board members, not just in Cuyahoga County, but in the state, to follow. And I think we are going to be less without his leadership in the coming years. And I think that we'd welcome him back at a moment's notice if he decides he's willing to come back to either organization and continue with his strong leadership. So I can't think of a better person to receive this honor and join the ranks of many who came before him and supported people with developmental disabilities and their families here in Cuyahoga County.